Sony has announced plans for some new TV shows on Netflix and Amazon Prime with Horizon and God of War and Gran Turismo. Let's talk about it. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Crossplay. I'm Pastor Mark, and I want to talk to you about the new partnerships that Sony has announced with Netflix, Amazon Prime, and the new TV shows that they're producing. If you missed it, last week during an investor briefing, Sony announced some new TV shows in partnerships with some big streaming platforms. They announced that they are partnering with Netflix to bring out a TV show for Horizon, and they're partnering with Amazon Prime to bring out a TV show for God of War, and then there's this Gran Turismo thing that's not really clear. Some people have said it's a series. Some people are saying it's a movie. It's not associated with any streaming platform. So I guess we'll see when it comes to Gran Turismo. Now, this had been rumored for a while, but it's good to finally have at least some confirmation when it comes to Sony's plans for multimedia. But this is really only some confirmation because there's still a lot of information that we don't know. We have no indication of release dates or who's involved in terms of production and writing or casting or what stories are being told or anything like that. We just know that there are plans to bring out these shows on their respective platforms. But we do at least get a little bit of insight into some of Sony's strategy when it comes to these TV shows. First, we can clearly see that Sony's plan is to diversify their offerings, not just in the TV shows that are being created, but in the platforms that they partner with. We have Horizon going to Netflix, we have God of War going to Amazon Prime, and then don't forget we have the Twisted Metal TV show that's coming to Peacock, and then of course we have The Last of Us coming to HBO. And that makes you wonder where Gran Turismo will end up. Is it going to be a movie that's for theaters like Uncharted? Is it going to something like Hulu or Paramount Plus? We just don't know because I have no idea what you would even do for Gran Turismo. But Sony clearly does not want to put more than one egg in one basket when it comes to these streaming platforms. And my hope is that by diversifying and going to different platforms, what they're actually doing is giving the project to the team that best fits that story. Much like Disney giving Sony permission to make the Spider-Man game with Insomniac, I hope that Sony is having meetings with all these different production companies and saying, yeah, I think it makes sense for Netflix to take on Horizon because of this, and I think it makes sense for Kratos to be brought to life through Amazon Prime because of this person and this director and this production company. And maybe that's wishful thinking to think that that's happening in the meetings, but hey, one can dream. And now we're just kind of left waiting and wondering because, like I said, we just don't know that much else. Like for Horizon, I think we can probably safely assume that they'll tell Aloy's story. Maybe they'll start with the first Horizon game. But the story of Horizon is this massive, far-reaching story. And I'm curious if they're going to take that and maybe do like a prequel story leading up to Aloy, or if they'll take more time expounding on her childhood. I hope not, because that was probably the most boring part of the game. But we just don't know how they're going to flesh out this story in a TV show. And while Horizon might be a little easier to predict, I'm very curious of what they'll do with God of War. Like, do you go back to the original series? Because I hope not, because Kratos in the original series is very annoying, and if they do that, there's going to be a lot of rewrites, which you can do. It's just a lot of work. Or do you tell the story through God of War 2018, where you kind of tell the Greek aspects of God of War through flashbacks, but you mainly focus on this Norse mythology story? I mean, the older God of War is very much like a Zack Snyder 300, where all you cared about was kicking people in slow motion, and I think people expect a little more out of a God of War TV show today. And then the weird wild card is Gran Turismo. I don't even know who's asking for Gran Turismo. I have no idea what that show would even entail. Like, is it going to be like a Top Gear type show where you're just focusing on cars and having a good host to drive that show along, pun intended? Or is it going to be like you're inventing a story like Fast and the Furious? Because that's not really what Gran Turismo is. I'm very curious because Gran Turismo doesn't have a story. The story is you race. You race and you collect cars. Like, that's the story. So I don't know. I'm very curious about that. I'm more morbidly curious than anything else because I don't really care about Gran Turismo, but that's just me. And so you have these TV shows that have been announced and the ones that are currently in production, and then you have the movie side of things with Sony. We had the Uncharted movie with Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg, which was its own thing. We have the Ghost of Tsushima movie that's in production right now, and then who knows what other movies might be in production right now. And part of me wonders if Sony could go back. Would they rather have had Uncharted be a TV show, or are they happy with it as a movie? I think Uncharted can work as a movie because, after all, its inspiration was the Indiana Jones movies, so that clearly works in some form as a movie. I just think the movie form of Uncharted needs a little more refining and a little clearer vision if they're going to move forward with that. But hey, it makes them a lot of money in the end, and that's really what they care about, so What do I know? But I'm very curious what your thoughts are on this. Are you excited about these TV shows? Do you want to see Kratos on the silver screen? Do you want to see Aloy brought to life in live action? Do you wish they were animated? I'm very curious about that because I love some of these animated shows that are coming out, like Arcane and Castlevania. Great shows. Or are you more in the camp of Sony, just stick to games? You don't need to make movies and TV shows. I don't know. I want to know your thoughts on this. And as always, I want you to know that I'm praying for you. If you are watching this video, I have prayed for you. And if you have a specific prayer request, you can leave a comment down below or you can message me on Twitter and I will pray for you specifically. So thanks for checking out this video. Remember that God loves you. I'm praying for you and I'll see you in the next video.